Let's jump right into this explainer. Because I know exactly how it feels staring at that brand new CPAP machine in its box. It's intimidating, right? It looks super medical, totally complicated, and maybe a little scary. But honestly, the mechanics behind it are incredibly simple and actually really approachable. And if there is literally one thing you take away from our time today, it's this quote right here. It doesn't breathe for me, it just stops my throat from collapsing. I love that. It instantly disarms that massive fear that you've got some intense hospital ventilator taking over your lungs. Nope, you are still doing 100% of the breathing.
So, here is our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to cover 1. Why we stop breathing, 2. Demystifying the CPAP machine itself, 3. The journey of air, 4. Choosing the right device, and finally, adjusting to your therapy.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, why we stop breathing, and the actual mechanics of a collapsing airway. You see, when we sleep, all those muscles in our throat just naturally relax. For some of us, that causes soft tissues like your tongue or soft palate to sort of collapse inward and block the airway. If that airway gets completely blocked, that's an apnea. If it's just narrowed enough to make breathing unusually shallow, we call that a hypopnea. Basically, your body briefly panics. It wakes you up just enough to get that air flowing again, usually with a gasp or a twitch, and crazy enough, you probably won't even remember it happening. But man, even if you don't remember those gasps, you absolutely feel the aftermath, don't you? Those hidden, repeated nighttime interruptions completely wreck your sleep quality. You might literally be in bed for 8 solid hours, but because your sleep is constantly broken into tiny pieces, you wake up feeling like a zombie. We're talking dry mouth, morning headaches, just this bone-deep tiredness, brain fog, and that awful, uncomfortable feeling that you didn't actually rest at all. Moving right along to Section 2, demystifying the CPAP machine and realizing it's all about simple pneumatics, not medication. So let's totally ditch that scary medical ventilator idea right now. A CPAP isn't medication, it isn't a surgery, and it's definitely not a tank of oxygen that breathes for you. What it actually does is take ambient, everyday room air and uses it to create a continuous, invisible splint. Think of it kind of like how air pressure holds up a bouncy castle. That steady stream of ordinary air simply provides enough pressure to hold your soft airway tissues safely open while you snooze. That brings us to Section 3, the journey of air, following the breeze from the room directly to you. When you actually trace this journey, you see just how harmless and purely mechanical this whole process is. The machine simply pulls in ordinary room air, pushes it through a filter to catch any rogue dust bunnies, and uses a little motorized blower to build up your specific prescribed pressure. Then that air travels nice and smooth through a flexible hose right into your mask and gently supports your throat. And boom, that is exactly why it's called continuous positive airway pressure. To ground this in reality, the physical parts you interact with are super straightforward. Just be sure you aren't accidentally blocking the air intake on the main unit with a rogue pillow or blanket. Swap out that filter regularly, especially if you've got furry pets running around. Keep your tubing free from crazy twists, and aim for a mask fit that's secure, but definitely not painfully tight. We are going for comfort here. Which leads perfectly into Section 4, choosing the right device. We'll look at CPAP, APAP, and bipap. Now, while all these machines use positive airway pressure, the actual smarts inside them operate quite differently depending on what you need. A standard CPAP is your reliable workhorse. It delivers one steady, continuous pressure all night long. An APAP, which stands for automatic, is pretty clever. It actually monitors your airflow and adjusts the pressure up or down within a prescribed range as your needs change throughout the night. And then there's the bipap. It gives you 2 totally separate pressures, a higher one for when you breathe in and a lower, easier one for when you breathe out. That's usually for more advanced therapy needs. And finally, Section 5, adjusting to your therapy, where we'll tackle some common problems and their super simple fixes. I'm going to be completely straight with you here. Those first few nights, they definitely require some patience as you get used to wearing a mask and feeling that airflow. But listen, the most common side effects have incredibly simple fixes. For instance, the most common question by far, why does my mask leak during the night? It's super annoying, right? It might blow air right into your eyes or make this loud hissing sound that wakes you up out of nowhere. Well, the fix is actually surprisingly easy. First off, always try refitting the mask while you're actually lying down in your usual sleep position. Your face shape literally changes when you lie down. And here is a massive warning. Do not over-tighten those straps. It's so tempting, but pulling the straps as tight as possible can actually distort the silicone cushion, which ruins the seal and makes those leaks way worse. If it's still leaking after adjusting, just double-check if your cushion is worn out and needs a replacement. Okay, next up is another classic hurdle: waking up with a severely dry mouth, a super irritated nose, or cracked lips. This happens because having a continuous flow of room air blowing past your tissues for 8 hours straight can have a pretty serious drying effect. Luckily, almost all modern machines come with a fantastic built-in solution for this: the heated humidifier chamber. Basically, as the air passes over warmed water, it picks up moisture and carries it right through the hose to you. It's like a tiny tropical breeze. You can easily adjust the humidity level if you're still feeling dried out. Just a quick pro tip though: only use the recommended water, usually distilled, and absolutely, under no circumstances, put any household additives, essential oils, or fragrances into that chamber. It will damage the parts and seriously irritate your lungs. So, what about that feeling of being totally unable to breathe out against the pressure? A lot of users, especially right at the beginning, get this overwhelming, almost claustrophobic feeling. It kind of feels like you're fighting against a mini wind tunnel every single time you try to exhale. You absolutely do not have to just suffer through that. These machines are packed with smart comfort features. There's usually a ramp feature, which is awesome. It starts the air pressure out at a really low, super comfortable level while you're falling asleep, and then gently ramps it up to your prescribed pressure once you're fully out. Also, tons of machines have an exhalation pressure relief setting. That means it slightly drops the pressure the exact millisecond you breathe out, making the whole breathing cycle feel completely natural. Ask your clinician about turning these on. Now, keeping all this equipment functioning perfectly and comfortable against your skin literally just takes a few minutes. On a daily basis, simply empty out any leftover water from the humidifier, let the chamber air dry, and give that mask cushion a quick wipe down. Then, once a week, give the tubing a wash with some mild soap, clean out the chamber thoroughly, and just inspect your filter and headgear for any signs of wear and tear. Honestly, a tiny bit of maintenance makes a world of difference here. So the bottom line is this: managing sleep apnea with CPAP therapy isn't some effortless magic trick on day one. It takes a little bit of adjustment, maybe a bit of trial and error with different mask sizes, and definitely some open communication with your doctor. But it is incredibly effective. The most annoying issues have really simple fixes, and once you actually understand the basic mechanics, the whole thing is way less intimidating than it looks when you first open that box. I want to leave you with this one thought. We've just seen how simple the mechanics of this device really are. So what if taking a little bit of time to master this simple, gentle machine is the exact key you've been looking for to finally wake up fully rested, clear away that daily brain fog, and actually reclaim the energy in your life? Stick with it, have some patience with yourself in the beginning, and most importantly, sleep well.